Hi guys, so today I want to do a top-down analysis on one of my favorite pairs, which is British pounds, Japanese yen. So I've been looking at this pair for months, for long. So as you all can see, looking back, right, this is a monthly time frame. As you all can see, this was our last high. This point, this 194, right? So I put a trend line at this 197.854, right? I put a resistance line and my price broke it. Last 2 months. As you all can see, I'm trying to zoom in. As you all can see, price broke it with a good pin bar. So I'm looking at this bearish candlestick that the price is printing, and I'm thinking it might be a retest, you know. Now our next high, our next resistance, so it's at 214.176. So this resistance, I'm looking at it on support, but this is a monthly time frame, right? So I go to my weekly time frame, and I've already marked the chart because, like I said, I've been observing this chart for a while, as you all can see. So I noticed this this was like a resistance. This is like a zone, right? This is like a demand zone because it broke it. It was like a supply zone, but supply turned demand. That's what I'm looking at, because price broke this zone and still came back, tested it, and it's still back. And as you all can see, it didn't even close below the zone. Let me zoom in properly so you see what I mean. Last week closed inside of the zone, right? Look at it. Look at where the zone. Look at inside of this supply and demand zone. Though the market touched that our point, that our monthly resistance turn support. As you all can see, last week it touched it. So I'm looking at price retracing back up, but we have to analyze. We just don't speculate blindly. Besides, there is also a news today, news this week that is coming out on the British pounds and also the Japanese yen. So these are daily time frame. As you all can see, this daily time frame has been on an uptrend. It has been on an uptrend for long. Can you see higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher high. Now it came back to our last low point, which was in correlation with our weekly time frame zone, because this is our weekly time frame zone, right? I even bought this pair at, like, I started buying this pair from this point, this 197, right? So I looked at it to the next demand, to the next supply zone, the next resistance, which is at 214.76. But then I'm still looking at price, right? So we're analyzing just to see. So last week on Friday, it closed with a doji, and we can consider this one to be a bullish doji. Oh, price action over everything, right? Price action over everything. Let me remove this. Look at it. This doji. This is a doji, and we can see it's a bullish doji on an uptrend, like on a demand zone, because even in a higher highs and higher lows market and uptrend market, there's also resistance and there's demand, right? Resistance and there's support and there's supply and demand. So these are daily time frame. Now I switch to my 4 hours, right? Looking at it from 4 hours. By the way, today the market is closed. Today is Sunday, so I'm just analyzing, just to check my market. I like to zoom out. my market just to see clearly, you know. So these are 4 hours. As you all can see, there was a downtrend. This was CPI on last 2 weeks Thursday. This was CPI news. I didn't catch it. I went out of the markets. So this was CPI. As you all can see, from that CPI day, it started going on a downtrend. See, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. So I'm going to wait for the market to break this our zone. This zone that you are seeing, this colored area, is from that my weekly time frame. So I'll wait for price to break it, then I'll take it up. Then I'll look for my entry. Let me delete this black line because this is my so I'm seeing price trying to make some U-turns, but then we can't be too sure, you know. But as you all can see, in correlation from our monthly time frame, there was a rejection, there was a resistance turn support, a broken resistance turn support. Our weekly time frame in correlation with our monthly time frame, which says that the market, yes, it tested our support of our resistance turn, support and resistance line from our monthly time frame, tested it on weekly time frame, and then the market closed inside this zone. So last week closed inside this zone. These are 4 hours time frame. As you all can see, let me zoom in properly so you can see the closure, right? So this is where the market closed. These are 4 hours time frame. Then I go to my 1 hour time frame. Oh, my network is a bit slow. So I like to zoom out just to have a clearer picture before I now zoom in, you get me? So I even saw a head and shoulder pattern, but then the pattern didn't take off because it was trying to tell me that market was trying to show a head and shoulder, a right shoulder trying to form, but then it didn't. So in this daily time frame, there's a break of structure a bit. As you all can see, this was the last high. Market, let's say this was the last high, and market broke it to this point, right? It didn't even go down to make another lower low. It broke the last high, and now it came down. So, but we are patient enough. Like, we have to be very patient, especially this week. I don't even trade on Mondays and Tuesdays. I just keep observing the market. Though I'm in a buy position, I already entered a position, and I'm in a little bit of drawdown. So 15 minutes, I use 15 minutes for my entry, right? So 15 minutes, I want to see what the market is going to do, because there is a lot of high impact news coming out this week, so I don't want to be irrational. Let me check my gold pair. So I like to start from my weekly. Let me see what happened throughout the week. That's how I do my analysis. Sometimes I even go to the monthly time frames, you know. Not sometimes, every time, trust me. So I see a lot of rejection here, but the market has been testing higher, you know. But there are a lot of rejections there, but that's just based on our monthly. But it's also a powerful thing. So as you all can see, there was a break here, you know. I haven't even seen a retest since this point, this resistance. Let me put my resistance line. I said resistance, horizontal line. Yeah, it's also a resistance line, you know, my resistance. So as you can see, since when the market broke this point, it hasn't come back to like really retest it. So I like to like do something like zone, like how far the market has gone and where it hasn't come back to this place. And I can see a lot of rejections, right? Let's leave that resistance for now. One thing with analysis is that sometimes you even analyze and still come back and fix your analysis, you know, because it depends on the mindset you're on when you're analyzing. So sometimes you now see a clearer picture sometimes after analyzing on when the market opens, because we are not trying to predict, we are just trying to follow the market. So as the market changes, trust me, some analysis have to change. So on my weekly time frame, I put a higher high, right? I put a higher high, a trend line, because I saw higher highs, you know, I saw higher highs. So I put a trend line. The market hasn't tested the trend line, but there's a low point. Our last low was here. Looking at it, sometimes I don't like to put the horizontal line. I just look for a trend line and I draw it. But today we are putting horizontal line. I like to color my lines, so when I see them on lower time frames, I won't get confused. I know that when I see purple on a lower time frame, I know that it's from a weekly time frame analysis. And when I see a black, that black now I already know that it's from monthly time frame. You get? So I'll advise you to use colors, different colors. Don't mind me, sometimes I like to design my, it's not from there. I'm also a naked trader, you get me? I want to see where my monthly resistance, okay, I didn't, you see, that's why it's good to actually check. So I'm going back to this, my monthly time frame. That resistance line, let me see. I'll put it so it will show below all the intervals, so current interval and below. So now it will reflect on my weekly time frame. So as you all can see, this is it. Look at this point from our monthly time frame, right? Should we even just go and mark our high? Let me mark the high of the month, right? This is the high of the month here, and this is the low of this year. This is the low. So I think I'll just put it, I'll put this line on the low of this month, like, or let me just leave it there. It doesn't matter really. So let me make sure it's showing on current interval and below. So I go to my daily time frame, because I've already seen from my weekly time frame. Oh, this daily time frame is in a mess. Not really though. So something is happening here. There is a lot of higher highs. Not a lot, but 3 higher highs. No, can you see? Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. So I expect price to come down to this zone. I expect price to do that, but price can do whatever price wants to do, and mine is just for me to adapt and keep following the price. And that's why I'm analyzing again, and we call this back testing. You know, you can call it anything you want to. So as it is now, what I'm seeing here is that I'm seeing a pattern, because when price touched this point for the third time, this point, it started coming down, started coming down, started coming down. It came down to the last low where the bears were, the last place the bears were, which was this pin bar, right? It tested it, then it went back up and broke the last low, and then it's now where the next where the last low was, which was this bar, right? Tested that point, and then it's coming down. So let me take that one from the top and bring it down to the last, to where this next sellers does bears, because he has done that. There's something with price, it repeats, there's repetition, so we don't predict, we only follow. That's why we backtest, because we check the repetition pattern, and as you all can see, it has done that 3 times. Look, when it started falling, it came to where the bears were, then it retraced back up and broke it, came to the next place the bears were, which was this big long red candlestick, retested it, and also, you know, retraced, tested it, retraced, and also down. And this week there is a high impact news on USD, so I expect price to do the same thing it did. So these are daily time frame, which are the higher time frames. Like, you know, the higher time frames are so powerful, very, 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 very. I like to zoom out, like I said. I like to zoom out just to have a clearer picture, you know. Look at it. Look at this beauty. So far, 4 hours is actually in correlation to our 1 day, as you all can see. As you all can see, lower, low, lower, high, lower, low, and it's trying to form a lower high. So I already have a trend line on my phone, but because I'm just marking it now, let's mark it. Let's start from this point. The market started falling because we didn't know it was making a downtrend, right? So I like to use, as you all can, if you notice these blue lines, anywhere I see blue lines, I know that it's from my daily time frame. And anywhere I see yellow lines, I know that it's from my 4 hours time frame. And anywhere I see purple lines, I know that it's from my weekly time frame. And anywhere I see black line, like this black line, I know that that's my resistance on my monthly time frame. So I like to put colors so it doesn't get me confused. Right from time I've been like that. So current interval and below, just to be sure, it's, you know, current interval and below. So I like to do this where I go to my 15 minutes, sometimes my 1 hour, but because anytime I'm entering a market, I like to enter from my 15 minutes so I get the entry properly, right? Look, so I'll wait and I'll look for an engulfing, a pin bar, an inverted hammer, a bearish pin bar, you know, an inverted hammer, and a bearish engulfing. Like this was a bearish engulfing because the opening and the close of this candlestick closed below the opening of the last candlestick, so it engulfed it. So that's what we call an engulfing. So if had it been I entered around this point, you can imagine, take profit around this point, but then it's not bad because well, still patience is the key. So I'll even be the one to even enjoy this entry, like get it right, you know. So sometimes I go to my 1 hour just for glancing sake. I've already done my due diligence from my weekly, daily, monthly time frames, which we call top-down analysis, right? Sometimes I enter from 1 hour. As you can see, I even have a 1 hour trend line, but let me remove it because I've already put my 4 hours and I want to respect the 4 hours time. So around this point, that's when I'll wait to see, then I'll buy. Normally I don't trade on Mondays and Tuesdays, but honestly I'll consider it when I see an opportunity, right? Because opportunity waits for no one. So there's something I wanted to do on Thursday and Wednesday. This was showing me a pattern, and we call this pattern head and shoulder pattern because this side, this point that I'm cycling, let me draw it, it's like our right shoulder, no, left shoulder, pardon. So let me cycle it to you see. So this is what head and shoulder pattern looks like. It's because this side seems to be a right shoulder, this side seems to be a head, and this side it seems to be a right shoulder. So it's even still printing it. Though not everybody trades pattern, but me, I trade pattern sometimes. So as you all can see, like, look at it from this 1 hour. Doesn't it seem like head and shoulder pattern? Look, look, look. So I think price will come to this point. That's our next resistance, right? Outside this side that it didn't break, but I can see price coming to this side even based on my 4 hours time frame. So I'll just consider and stick to my 4 hours before the market opens. By Tuesday I'll now go to my 15 minutes, so you all can see what's happening. And what's happening is that our daily time frame is in correlation with our 4 hours time frame, and our monthly time frame is in correlation with our weekly time frame. From the monthly time frame, it's saying that I'm retracing. I want to retest or like retrace back to the last structure that I broke, which was this high. This was the last high, this area, this point as a whole. So I see price coming down, but let's see how this month candle even ends. Next tomorrow should be the end of the month. And our weekly, just summarizing, our weekly saying I'm on an uptrend, but I'm still retracing back, retracement. So let's see this point, the last low. Let's see what happens. It didn't even break the last high according to, as far as I'm concerned. But switching to my daily time frame, from the daily time frame now, you all can see that the daily time frame is saying I'm going down. As I analyzed before, I want to go down. I'm going down. It said it 3 times because from this point it came down to the last place the bears were and retested, retraced, came down and broke it to the last place the bears were, retested, and now we are waiting for it to come down to the next place the bears were. And looking at it from our 4 hours, we saw a downtrend. Hey guys, we saw a downtrend. This is an opportunity. This is an opportunity to make some dollars. I hope my video was helpful, and I hope it was helpful to me. So I'm just putting it out there, and I hope it will be helpful to you too. So these 2 currency pairs are what I'm looking at. I don't want to be greedy to analyze BTC. I just added it to my portfolio. So thank you guys, and God bless you. Have a wonderful and volatile week ahead.